Hello, everybody, and welcome to an episode of our FPL. It is me and Rod, and today we thought with the United Villa game being last night and with Villa hosting United on the weekend, that me and Rod would do an in-depth breakdown of this game because obviously I'm a United fan and Rod's a big Villa fan. First of all, Rod, how are you feeling on this fine Tuesday afternoon?
I'm still frustrated from last night. I'm still a bit annoyed, and I'm sure we're going to get into that. But apart from that, mate, I'm not too bad. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm good. Did you enjoy the FA Cup break or not?
Um, I just love my Premier League.
And me.
So I love the magic of the FA Cup, and it was nice to see some knockouts with obviously Cambridge, Nottingham Forest, more
Kidderminster.
in a while. But yeah, I'm glad to get back to the Premier League on the weekend, and even more so now that Villa are out.
Yeah, I kind of like the FA Cup. I think it has lost a bit of what it used to be, but for me, it's almost like a bit of a break from the Prem, and you still get to watch some football. You can chill out. Like it's not for me. It's not something where I'm like, oh, I've got to watch every game. So I can just like, oh, if there's a game I'm interested in, I'm watching it. If not, I'm not going to. But yeah, obviously, the biggest game of the weekend, in our opinion, most certainly was last night, Villa versus United. United coming away with the 1-0 win. Scott McTominay bagging a header in the first half. Other than that, though, Rod, it seemed to be all Villa. What did you make of the game?
I thought I thought it was a good performance from us, but think there were some weaknesses. For me, bar the first 15, 20 minutes, I thought we were the better team, especially in the second half where I feel like we dominated. But you got the goal early, and then from that, for me, you'd never really look like scoring. You had a few half chances, a few shots from, say, 20, 25 yards out that Martinez caught or whatever, and I just didn't think you were that good, and for us to come away with a loss is it's just disappointing. But touching on Villa again, I think you did well in certain aspects of exposing our weaknesses, which is making the pitch bigger. And for me, a lot of the time you had lots of space out on the flanks with Rashford, with Greenwood. So that's something we probably need to improve on. But I don't think you were that good, and it's just frustrating because I thought we deserved more.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, to be honest. And like you said, on the flanks, I do feel like United had a lot of space out there, but I don't think they really used it that much to their advantage. I think you saw a lot of the time Greenwood cutting in, taking shots, Rashford holding on to the ball too long, not really looking for the overlap for Luke Shaw. And I think there was a couple of times where we really could have hurt you with that. Big chances for United. I'm thinking of the one where Rashford went in on the one side and could have squared it to Greenwood, but decided to go alone. If you think of the Edison Cavani chance, and the one also where he almost tripped over the ball. But the majority of the game, I'd say that I feel like Villa were the better side. I feel like you exposed our midfield, and we were speaking last night after the game. You was really frustrated, so I kind of enjoyed it. But you were saying, oh, you thought that Fred and McTominay were decent in the game, and I was like, are you on some? I don't know what you're on, but I couldn't believe what you said, because for me, I thought they combined for the goal, and I guess as individuals, you could say, oh, they had an okay game, but Villa dominated that midfield, and I think that's going to be a big aspect when it comes to Saturday's game. I think one of the biggest talking points coming away from the game, Rod, is the Villa goal. Should it have stood?
Mate, it's 100% should have stood. Let me start by saying Jacob Ramsey, he's a 19-year-old lad from Birmingham. How does a big, burly Ecuadorian 6'2" guy get bundled over like that and then stay down? And even in real time, the ref looks at that, and Cavani looks over at Michael Oliver, and the ref shakes his head. So even he didn't think it was a red card. Not a red card.
Foul.
It should have been a goal. And then obviously, I don't know what the chronological order was based on that VAR review. They looked at one thing, they looked at an offside, they looked at a handball for Ings, maybe Watkins touched the ball, and then 3.5 minutes later, they were desperate to rule the goal out. Like, they were looking for anything. And then at the end, they go to Jacob Ramsey fouling Cavani, apparently, when... Mate, Jacob Ramsey is not a big guy. He's not Mikel Antonio. He could have ran round him. and even then, he's not getting to the ball. So I don't think he's impeding play.
I
It's
think
just
he is.
frustrating for me. From the off, they didn't want to give the goal, and you can see Michael Oliver thought it was a goal by shaking his head at Cavani, and I don't know. VAR just seemed to think otherwise when it comes to decision towards United.
Yeah, yeah. Touching on that, first of all, obviously it wasn't offside. Watkins didn't get a touch on the ball by the looks of things. It's very close and it's hard to tell, but I think off the evidence shown, you've got to say he didn't touch the ball. The handball, I thought it's here and there. To be honest, you couldn't. It's up to you. But the Cavani, it is a foul for me. He's in line with Konza. He's running back, focus on the ball, and Ramsey starts off in an offside position anyway. It didn't really make sense to me. He's only there to block Cavani's run, and to me, it's a foul. I could understand why you're pissed off with it. Yeah, it's soft and all this, but you said to me last night, oh, if that was us, it would have been given. And it wouldn't have been given, and the goal would have stood. But I can see where you're coming from, because you've got that underdog mentality where you're like, everything goes against us and stuff like that. But for me, I think the majority of referees will give a foul for that. I know you're going, oh, Jacob Ramsey's this little guy. You're making out like he's 5'2". He's around 6 foot, to be fair, Rod. It's like, if I ran into you, I'm a lot bigger than you in fairness, in size, not so much in stature, but, I'm going to fall over as well. And I know you're upset with it, but for me, it was probably rightly disallowed. I think the way they went about it, though, was very wrong. First of all, you should be looking at that Cavani incident straight away. And I think if they look at that Cavani incident straight away and go, look, yeah, it's a foul, it's over in like 30 seconds and done. But the way they went about it, looking at the handball first, then the offside, and then Cavani, it's backwards, and it just doesn't make sense to me. So I can see why you're very upset with that. In total, I think it took 3 minutes and 30 seconds for VAR to sort out that goal, so it must have been very frustrating.
And the introduction was VAR was to basically rule out and overturn anything which is a clear and obvious error. I think maybe in future put like a countdown on VAR, because a clear and obvious error doesn't take 3 minutes 30 to overturn. And it's just inconsistent, like, and the rules, it's just they're bent to fit different narratives. You can always find like a rule that will fit your narrative, and it's just like there's just no consistency. And like we talk about it every week, and it's just so boring. But the officials, like, this is the best league in the world with the most money in the world. Surely it should have the best officials in the world. Import them. I don't know, do something to them, because clearly they're not fit to referee, and it's just frustrating because it ruins the game, and it just doesn't feel like football anymore. It's dissection of the game, and now it's just more scientific than ever. When like, and at the same time, VAR, how can it only be in Premier League stadiums and not other stadiums? You either use it or you don't use it in all the grounds, or you don't use it at all, or maybe just for the final. Like, for example, if that goal scored against Rotherham and they're at home, it's given, and it just makes.
I agree. For me, what I'd say is I completely agree with the VAR. For me, in the FA Cup, I'm cool with not having it. I'm cool with not having it in the Prem, to be honest, right? And I'm cool with that goal standing if there's no VAR. But obviously with VAR, I can see why it's been disallowed. Firstly, I do agree that it is it's a different game with VAR, and the fact that it's only at Premier League grounds definitely makes a difference. And I think you got to say it really favours Premier League clubs as well, just because, like, if you're going up against Rotherham and they score against you at home, and there's a chance for VAR to overrule it, whereas, if you're at Rotherham, the goal's been given already. Do you know what I mean? And it's a bit of bullshit. But Rod, let's touch a bit more on this game from the other night. I've got the stats up here on Live School, so these are the Live School stats. They had United with 9 shots on target and Villa with 4. Villa having 6 shots off target, United with 9. So you're looking at a total of 13 shots for United and 10 for Villa. For me, they're very lopsided in the fact that United were taking more pot shots from outside the box. You're looking at McTominay, Rashford as well. Greenwood couldn't stop shooting. A lot of tame efforts as well, not really testing the goalkeeper. But the stat that really stands out to me, Rod, is the 57% Villa. Going away to Old Trafford and dominating the ball, basically. It must give you great confidence coming into the weekend.
And I think that's one of the first times this year I probably can count on my one hand how many times we've come away with more possession. We don't really keep possession as much. Obviously, you've seen yesterday we just get the ball and tend to go forward as quick as we can. So that is it's a pleasing start. And obviously on Saturday we're going to be at home. We're going to have the crowd behind us, and I think if we're going to set up similar, and it's just going to be interesting to see how they react coming off yesterday's defeat, because Gerrard's going to get more than galvanised for it. Like, he's not going to be happy, and I just hope we win. Doing the double over you in the Premier League season, I don't think we've done that for absolutely ages, if ever.
Yeah, I think it would. It would be a huge milestone for Villa, just to show where you are at the moment. And for me, you're not far away from challenging for European spots. I think if it wasn't for the start of the season, the few dodgy results, I think you'd be up there right now, maybe even challenging for fifth or fourth. Like, do you know what I mean? And that's the scary thing, I think, as a United fan. You've seen the team ever since Sir Alex left, and we don't really look like we're close. Even like, I wouldn't say we're necessarily closer than we were under Moyes to fucking finding this illustrious next title. And for me, there's a lot of teams who are just, you've got to look at Newcastle. You got your Arsenal who are coming up as well, Villa, Spurs under a new manager. And then you've got Chelsea, Liverpool, and City just look unstoppable at the moment. Do you know what I mean? Like, even though Chelsea aren't in a great run of form, you just know they're going to be in and about there every season. It's going to be very hard soon to get into that top four, and I think United have fallen away from it. Obviously, Rob, coming into this weekend's game, we've got to look at the history of United versus Villa. Villa have only ever won at home 4 times, Rod, against United. So, but you got to say, right now, it's probably the best chance you're ever going to get that double over United.
I was just quickly touching on a bit of history. I remember being at a game, must have been like 4 or 5 years ago, maybe, and we went 2-0 up. Weimann scored, and I think Benteke scored. And I was like, oh my God, we're going to do it. And then I was sat on my dad, and I was like, I'm not happy Hernandez is coming on. And then he scores the first one. I'm like, here we go. I think he scores the second, and then I'm like, brilliant. And then, of course, he goes and gets the winner. And that's basically what it's been like playing United, where we always look good. We nearly come away with a win, and then something happens. It happened at, I think, your place with Makeda a few years ago.
That was at Villa.
Was it at Villa? Was it?
Was it United? I can't remember, but for me, that is one of my fondest memories of this fixture. And
that was our third kit.
Yeah, I went to watch that game, actually, Rod, in the pub with my sister's boyfriend at the time. I was only young, I think maybe 10, 11, maybe, and the game was a bit of it was a real tight game, to be fair. And then Makeda hits you with that Ronaldo chop, and then leaning back finesse shot into the top corner. It was it's one of my best football memories, actually, because that week they was talking about Makeda on Sky Sports News. Oh, who is he? All this, and then what a memory. But like you said, your memory as well. I think that might have been United's last title winning season, actually.
It might have been, and I have poor memories of playing you because of we just never seem to win. And obviously this year we've beat you at Old Trafford, which is a huge milestone for us. Last time we did that, Bonlahor headed it past Kushak, I think 2009, 2010.
Yeah.
I'm going into this game, and I am feeling optimistic, and I think we can beat you. You're the most beatable you've been this year. We probably could have beat you and should have beat you last night. And you are obviously going to bring in a few players for the weekend, which is understandable.
Yeah, with suspensions and that, yeah.
I do think you're there for the taking, and I just hope we can. We really need 3 points because we've lost a few games now in a row, and I just hope we can flip and beat you.
Yeah, let's actually have a look. So me and you put together a predicted lineup each of who we think's going to line up for either side, considering the suspensions, injuries, all things like that, new signings. You basically went with an unchanged team almost, Rod. You went with Emi Martinez in goal, Target, Mings, Konza, Cash, Ramsey, Douglas Luiz, and Sanson coming in for McGinn due to suspension, I believe. You went with Watkins, Ings, and Buendia as your front three. So you don't have Coutinho coming in straight away. So first of all, just Mings in, just Sanson in because of McGinn, is it?
I think so. Obviously, we're strongly rumoured with Luca Dean, but he's going to need a few training sessions, I feel, to get used to the team and get an idea of the formation tactics. So if we can maybe bring him in tomorrow at the latest, then he might have a session or two before the weekend. So I don't think that'll be enough. And then obviously Coutinho, he hasn't really played this year. He's made a few appearances off the bench in October, November, December, but combined he hasn't really played too many minutes. He's had COVID over the last week or so, and then the games prior to that, he was on the bench and didn't come on. So I think Gerrard said he's going to be included if he can prove his fitness. So I think tomorrow's Coutinho's first training session. And if he's fit enough, I can see him maybe making a cameo off the bench for 10-15. But yeah. I can't see him starting. And I think this will be the formation and team we're going to line up with. I don't like the combination of Watkins Ings. For me, it doesn't work. I'd only want one of them, and preferably Watkins. But obviously, with injuries, etc., I think this will probably be the formation we play. And I'm happy with it. This is such a shame McGinn's missing. I think he's very instrumental in the way we play. But I think it is a strong enough team to beat you, and I just hopefully we just get Luca Dean in as soon as we can, so I don't really have to see any more of Target.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from for that. For me, I think you'd be looking at the weak spots in this team, probably being Target. If you could maybe get, one of the United wingers on him, I think he is there to be taken, really. I think he is good defensively, don't get me wrong, but definitely doesn't offer nothing near like the creativity levels that Cash does on the other side. So I can see where you're coming from with that. With this team, though, for me, the main man I'm worried about is Jacob Ramsey. I thought he had McTominay and Fred on strings the other night. Some brilliant 1-2 play in the midfield. I think he's a brilliant talent. Is he only 19, did you say?
Yeah, he's only 19, and what I like about him is his ball carrying ability.
That's what I love.
He's just driving with the ball, and he looks quite strong on the ball. And obviously, we see a couple moments yesterday. He was a bit rash in his passing, but obviously he is only 19. It's a big occasion, but he's a very exciting talent. And what he does need to behave on is he loves to get booked early on in the game, so then he's got to be a bit more cautious in his tackling. But he's a very exciting talent, and hopefully he can go out your defence.
Yeah, I agree with that. I was loving, just like as watching Villa the other night, I actually really enjoyed. I think from a neutral's point of view, the game was like brilliant. It was really entertaining, quite edgy as well. There's a bit of niggle in it. Both teams flying into challenges. For me, though, Ramsey, they gave McTominay man a match, which I really couldn't understand because United lost the midfield battle all night long. For me, the man of the match was either Rafa Varane, David De Gea, or Jacob Ramsey. I thought Rams... It's gone.
I thought as well, I thought Buendia had a very, very good game, and he really, really surprised me in his dribbling. For me, it was insane. His close control was very good, and he beat your defence a few times.
Yeah.
But for me, yeah, Buendia, just give a shout out to him. I thought he was brilliant as well yesterday.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I remember the one time in the game where he picked up the ball around the halfway line and just ghosted past Fred, Shaw and Lindelof. Yeah, he had a good game. For me, though, Rob, you were touching on the Danny Ings and Watkins. We had a bit of a debate last night, and I said I would go with Ings because I feel like Ings knows what he is. He's a finisher. He's not going to hold on to the ball too long, and if he gets a chance, he's going to take it most likely. Whereas Watkins, for me, I do see similarities with him and Rashford. I love some of the things he can do. You've seen it in the past where he's backed into Van Dijk and he's not scared of a physical battle, and majority of the time he wins it, Rod. But for me, sometimes I feel like he does hold on to the ball a bit too long, whereas a pass is available, but he holds on to the ball instead. And I just don't think he's that clinical in front of goal. For me, I think you would probably be better off with Ings, Buendia, and someone like Coutinho or a Bailey, something like that. Rod.
It's just, for me, Watkins he's really instrumental to the way we play. He's good at just giving it and going with the midfielders. He's decent at driving with it, and I think we're forcing the partnership because we spent a lot of money on Danny Ings, and obviously I think we needed another striker. I didn't think it was going to be the caliber of Danny Ings, which I think it was a brilliant addition. But I haven't seen that partnership work, and we've tried it in a lot of games this year. But like, if you look on our bench, we haven't really got much of a choice. Obviously, with the Africa Cup of Nations, Traore, Trezeguet are out. But like you said, Bailey's injured, so the introduction of Coutinho probably on the bench on the weekend, hopefully. Chukwuemeka and a few of the other youngsters. We've got some talent on the bench, and that's why I think we're going to line up very similar to what we did yesterday, because the quality on the bench isn't as good as we want it.
Yeah, just final question on the Villa team for me. Like, if let's say Coutinho does make somewhere between 30 and 20 minutes spell in the game, who do you see him coming on for, and what position do you see him kind of playing in this 4-3-2-1 system?
That's a very interesting question. I was actually debating this with someone the other day, and I think Gerrard said he'll either play on the left wing or as an attacking 8.
Yeah,
so
that's why I see him in the Ramsey role.
Yeah, for me, he'll either come on for like Jacob Ramsey, or it might come on for Ings or Watkins.
Yeah.
Well, that will move obviously one of the strikers central, and then Coutinho on the left wing, or he might play in the 8. And because what I did see with Buendia yesterday was he was all over the pitch. He was picking up balls in the pockets. He was kind of roaming everywhere, but he'd always be out on that right wing when you needed him.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be just. Hopefully, we just give Coutinho that license to kind of do what he wants to do, and if he can be a little magician for us, I think that would be mega. And the more chances we create, the more likely we're going to score. Because for me, Watkins, he needs a couple of chances to score, and he should have scored yesterday. Beautiful Ronaldo chop inside, and then keep it low, and it's a goal. And
yeah, for me, the Lindelof mistake, and then he had him on toast, mate, to be fair. But like you said with Buendia, I think that kind of highlights what Gerrard's system is like. I think defensively, very structured, ready to press, a lot of little traps in the midfield and stuff like that, like where you see Douglas Luiz come up at times it's almost like a star for the press. And then also on attack, you see players with the freedom like Jacob Ramsey, he's able to pick the ball up, drive with it, 1-2s off Watkins, stuff like that. And the players draw other players out of position. Very intrigued with watching Villa. A very entertaining team to watch recently.
What I do want to say though is, I think yesterday's game was another clear example of why we need a solid 6. Like for me, Douglas Luiz is more of it like a defensive sort of 8.
Yeah,
but I don't think he plays the 6 role very very well. Sanson's a bit attacking. He's just a very good 8. So for me, we need a defensive 6. There's been rumours of Zakaria. There's been rumours of us being interested in Bissouma, which out of all of them, that's exactly who I want. But I can't see us getting him in January or maybe even the summer.
Yeah.
But it just highlights we need a 6, and I think in the modern game, a 6 is more important than it's ever been.
Yeah, I think Zakaria could walk into either of these teams we're looking at today and instantly improve them. Just give them something else, I think, in the midfield. Anyway, Rob, let's go through my United team. I predict the United team. I went with David De Gea in goal. I think he's just been outstanding this season, to be fair to him. Great to see him back to his old form. Delo, I think, will play. Obviously, he did have to have stitches on that cut. It's actually quite a deep one. Didn't quite see where the incident happened, but it was quite a deep cut. But I do think he'll start over Wan-Bissaka with his form. We got Dalot and Harry Maguire. Oh no, not sorry. We got Varane, and I think Harry Maguire will walk back into the team. Not what I would do, but I just think the way this team is kind of like built, he would just walk straight back in. Tellez will come in for suspended Luke Shaw. I think you're going to see Fred and Matic in midfield with McTominay suspended. and I just don't see him giving Donny a start. On the left wing, I've got Jaden Sancho. I just don't think you can play Rashford after that performance the other night. I've got Greenwood on the right hand side. I've got Fernandes in almost like a 4-2-3-1-10 role, but I think at times you see him push up very high alongside the striker, almost like the 4-2-2-2, and then Ronaldo up top for me. I think that's how we're going to set up, Rod. Starting off for me, I just want to talk about Jaden Sancho. Something's wrong with Rashford, man. I think you can see it in his face. I don't want to say it, but to me he looks like really depressed, and I hope whatever's wrong with him can be sorted out, because I think on his day he's got a lot to offer, but last night was an abysmal performance. Holded on to the ball too long, looked to drive inside instead of crossing, he'd shoot every single time, and it was the same with Greenwood as well, really. I thought Greenwood did give the ball a bit more than Rashford, but every time he got it on the right hand side, he looked to drive in and shoot on his left foot, but nothing really there. For you, do you think the introduction of Sancho will make a big difference?
Yeah, like touching on Rashford, he just didn't look with it yesterday. His quality was poor on and off the ball. His attitude, he wasn't really applying himself. And yeah, like you said, he did just look a bit depressed and like he didn't really want to be there, which is a shame because he's an exciting talent and he's got a lot to offer. But obviously Sancho was where he thrived against us yesterday, but maybe with a bit more quality would have done better, was with the width.
Yeah.
What Sancho I feel is good at is getting at defenders, beating them and putting a cross in. And I think Sancho will give the width if he does play, and that is concerning because for me, Target's a better defender than Cash, and I think Cash gets out of jail a lot because he is a bit quicker than Target. He is fairly rapid, but he's very rash, so it's going to be an interesting battle, Sancho against Cash, and I hope for Villa's sake Sancho doesn't play and he does play Rashford instead.
Yeah, and I for me, I do think Sancho is going to start, because I just don't think you can play Rashford after that game. I just don't see it happening, and for me, I would actually prefer to see Sancho going up against Target on the stronger right foot. I think he can whip in an early cross, and I think that would suit United more.
Well, I wanted to ask, what is Tellez like defensively? I don't really see much of him. Going forward, I know that he's not too bad, but what's he like going back?
I think he's very gettable, but the only problem I see for you is if you can get Cash on the overlap, I think that's where it is. I don't really see Buendia going very wide and looking to whip the ball in. He likes to kind of come in to the space between the left back and the centre back. So for me, I'm not too worried about it, but he is definitely there to be taken defensively. Going forward wise, I think he actually will offer us a lot in this game. I think he's got a great ability to cross the ball in. I think with Ronaldo up top, the header's always an option. So I think that's definitely someone you could exploit in the game. It's just whether you're going to be set up to do it, really. I think with missing Bailey, I think that's a big miss. I think he would have a really good game against Tellez, personally. You got to be looking at Harry Maguire as a weakness as well there, Rod, surely, right? Because he's been so out of form, and he will just walk back in and get the captaincy. What do you think about your front three going up against him?
But touching back on Tellez, I think our Gerrard system relies very heavily on fullbacks, hence why we're getting a new left back where they bomb forward, and basically they give us that extra attacking option. So we're essentially playing with 4 forwards when our fullback, or 5 if you count both fullbacks when we go forward. So I think Cash hopefully should be able to get in behind Tellez and 1-2 with Buendia and hopefully put in a decent ball. But Maguire, yeah, he's been dodgy this year. I like him as a player, and on his day, for me, he's a good centre back.
Yeah,
I don't think he's world class, very good. I think he's a good centre back, and he's solid. But yeah, he's been completely off the boil this year, and I just hope we can get at your defence. And I was very surprised with Varane yesterday. I thought Varane was very good. His experience shone through. He was sound in possession, and he, for me, defended very well. And hopefully Maguire has an off game on Saturday. I'm sure we'll be there with a few pilsners watching the game. Hopefully.
Oh yes.
and hopefully none of us get cheated out of the game. But I think if an issue or mistake is going to come, I think it's going to come from Maguire.
Yeah, for me, the problem with Maguire is, like you said, I think he can be a good centre back. He's not a very good centre back or a great centre back, but a good centre back. The problem for me is he's come into United and he's been the number one. He's given captaincy basically day one because of De Gea's speech to the press when he was very unhappy, and the United board didn't really like that. So Maguire took the captaincy, and for me, there's a lot of pressure on him. Really, you look where he's come from, Leicester and Hull City. To be United captain's a big step up, and for me, he's a number 2 centre back. He's not a number 1. I would actually like to see him be stripped of the captaincy. I think it would actually benefit him in the long run. For me, he's very gettable though, and the one I worry about against him is Ollie Watkins. Watkins' ability to, back up into a centre back and just spin him really with ease. Really, it frightens me with Maguire. Varane, on the other hand, I thought he was brilliant the other night. I didn't think he put a foot wrong. Like I said, he should have been man of the match over McTominay any day. I think Dalot as well in the United backline just really showed a new level of maturity. I thought he's brilliant defensively, and going forward, he's always going to offer a threat.
Do you think Wan-Bissaka comes in?
No, I think Dalot. The only reason he would,
because it's the FA Cup, and obviously you want to give other players a chance. Because I don't know. Obviously, I don't watch United, but I think if one fullback plays in the FA Cup, then the other plays in the league.
I really think Dalot's going to start. The only reason he won't start for me is that ankle injury. He's got a cut on his foot, basically, by the heel, caused in the Villa game. You saw him went down and they was applying pressure to the wound, that's all. And he had to have stitches. So I'm not sure if he'll play or not. But, other than that, I think he'll start. If not, it's going to be Wan-Bissaka. And for me, that's just going to be a bit of... It's going to really make Greenwood stay hard, because no overlap from Wan-Bissaka. Even if Wan-Bissaka does come on the overlap, it doesn't really offer that threat. So I think Dalot has to start if he can. The other area we got to talk about, Rod, is this midfield. They got overrun last night, and with Matic in there, he doesn't have the legs of McTominay. I think you've got to be eyeing that up, right?
I am. I'm quite happy. For me, I really like McTominay as a player. I think he's very energetic. I think he's a good passer of the ball, and I think he's got a good shot on him. So when you told me yesterday that he is going to be missing the game, I was quite pleased about that, because I quite like him as a player. And I think what Matic probably gives you is a more defensively resolute midfielder. Would you say so?
Yeah, I would say in his heyday he was one of the best CDMs. Not one of the greatest CDMs in Premier League era, but he was one of the top ones. Do you know what I mean? Probably top 50, and that was going back a while. So there's been a lot of CDMs. For me, Matic has that. He is defensively, good, but the problem you're gonna have with this Villa midfield is that it's very energetic. You look at the likes of Jacob Ramsey, runs for days. Matic isn't going to be able to do that, and I think you saw the way Ramsey dealt with fucking Fred and McTominay. He went past them with ease, mate, like they weren't even there. I just worry for Matic.
That's for me. This is exactly a game where I'd want McGinn playing. With Matic in there, I'd love if McGinn was there. His energy, balls him behind, and what McGinn's really good at is just making himself big and squeezing into tight spaces. So I'm gutted he's not there. And what I hope with the midfield is obviously high energy, and I hope that they control Bruno, because for me, I think Bruno's central to your attack, and if he's found isolated with no one near him, then I think we can go at your defensive midfielders and then go at your defence. And I don't know, I'm pleased Matic and Shaw aren't playing. I think they're two good players.
McTominay and Shaw.
Yeah, sorry, yeah. McTominay and Shaw aren't playing, but I'm really gutted McGinn's not playing, because I think this would be a game for him.
Yeah, I think in this game it's going to probably be quite similar, Rod. For me, I think Fernandes is probably the only outlet for creativity. I just feel like Sancho, for me, is just so much better on the right-hand side. On the left-hand side, he's not going to be able to whip in that early ball, but we'll see. Hopefully he can do something.
Watching back on your attack, obviously I saw that who was Sancho and Ronaldo missed yesterday's game through a muscle injury. Are they definitely back? Do you think for the weekend? Because
I
you
do,
have got a double game week coming up. So
I do think they'll be back this weekend. I think the Villa game is a really big game, and I think you rest Ronaldo. Sancho on the other hand, I do think Rashford could play, but I just don't think you play him. Maybe if Sancho doesn't play or Rashford, you might see Elanga out there who's very young. I think you saw him the other night. I think he's direct, man. I thought United a lot of the night were really flat, zero tempo. I thought we looked best at times where we was able to nick the ball off you in the midfield, and I thought Fred and McTominay did a decent job of it, but just too much of the game was overrun and we're very flat. For me, I think in this game, Bruno's going to be the main guy for creativity. And we need to be able to get him on the ball as soon as possible. I think sometimes you see United players get the ball, look up, and it's like you can see the clogs going in their brain. Oh, can I shoot? Can I pass? And then by the time they do that, it's too late, and it's 5 seconds gone. Villa are all back, and they pass the ball backwards, and it's a bit of a shame. For me, though, Rod, there's only one man who's going to win this game, is there? It's Cristiano Ronaldo. What do you think of him? Obviously, you've come up against him once this season.
and we nullified him.
Pardon?
And we nullified him in the game that we did come up against him. But, mate, I don't think any team wants to play a fresh Cristiano Ronaldo. Obviously, he's not what he was a couple of years ago, but he still gives you that threat, and he's still a clinical striker. And yeah, I do worry. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't want Ronaldo in acres of space. For example, I think yesterday there were a couple chances where maybe Greenwood could have passed to Rashford earlier,
Yeah.
and in that position, I think maybe Ronaldo scores. I think that's the difference. Yeah, I'm hoping he misses the game. Unlikely, but I would love for him to miss it because on his day, he is unplayable. And I just hope our centre backs, especially Mings, and Konza does it every week, but they don't let their strikers get in their heads, because Mings has a temperament for letting the attacking players get into his head, and then he makes rash decisions or starts panicking. So I just hope they're composed, and we've nullified him once this year. We can do it again, and I hope we can.
Yeah, I think there's reasons to be optimistic, and I think that's mainly because of the issues with creativity at United. And I feel a bit sorry for Ronaldo. He's come back and he's taken a risk, really, coming back to United, and it's really not paid off so far, just because of the lack of creativity from other players. He's not getting the chances he probably would have if he'd stayed at Juventus and stuff like that. And I think that's the key area of this game is the midfield, and are we able to get chances for Ronaldo? Rod, how do you actually see this game going? Like, do you see Villa just dominating it and running away with it, or not?
No, absolutely not. I don't think I'll ever say that about a Villa performance. What I've especially seen this year is when a team is looking poor, they're out of form, play Aston Villa and you'll win. We had it at Spurs earlier this year. We've had it at Arsenal, where they're there to be taken, and it doesn't come. And I think after yesterday's robbery, I think the performance and attitude is going to be exemplary. And I think we're going to go at you. We're going to be at home, so the crowd is going to be behind us. A full Villa Park under the lights. It's going to be bouncing.
Yeah.
And if we start with a high intensity, we just get into your faces early on in the game, create some chances, because I felt, especially in the second half yesterday, even though you were at home, I just felt like you were in bits. You were trying to clear it. We were all in your faces, and we had you on the ropes. And I think if we start like that, and if we can bang an early goal, it would be huge. And I'm going to give a prediction though of our record against you is poor, and that does stand for something. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 United win. And
come on, be fun. You got to go with a Villa win.
I've got to be fair, and Mike Dean's on the VAR, so I'm going to go for a penalty bingo at 30 on the 34th minute.
All right, I think that's fair enough. How do I want this game to go? This is what I want to happen, Rod, right? I want you to fucking dominate us, right? And then in the last minute of the game, United get a penalty. Ronaldo's got the ball. Bruno goes, No, I'm taking this one. I've got payback. Bangs it in against fucking Emi Martinez and gives him the fucking hip thrust right in front of the old end, right? And then, we just sail off with all 3 points. What I think is going to happen is I think you're going to have in large spells of this game, you're going to dominate us just like you did at Old Trafford. But I think we'll jam it, to be honest. And I think 2-1 United's the scoreline I'm going to go with. I just think we just got something about us where we're just jammy as fuck sometimes, and other times we're just shit. So shit and jammy, and I think 2-1 United. But Rod, we got to do a bet, right? If United win, I'll buy you got to buy me 2 double pointers. If Villa win, I'll buy you 2 double pointers.
Oh, that's a win.
What?
That's in.
You got to be down for it. How about this? I'll give you Villa win or draw.
How about I win a double pinter and a firebomb. You win a double pinter and a firebomb.
I'll have a skittle bomb instead, please.
Oh, yeah, skittle bomb. Actually, good shout.
Skittle bombs, yeah. Anyway, guys, that's been our preview. We've both gone for 2-1 United, but in reality, Rod's basically going Villa because he's putting his money where his mouth is. We're going to be at Yates with a couple of the boys watching the game. I'm really looking forward to it, Rod. We'll be having another upload this week at some point, guys. Hopefully 2, maybe even, with our transfer recap show maybe on Friday. But on Thursday, do expect a upload of that FPL show where we break down everything FPL and look forward to the weekend's fixtures. Really enjoyed you having you on here, Rod, once again, just breaking down this game. I think it's a really intriguing matchup, and I think it's always a fun time where our teams play each other.
Absolutely, mate. Pleased to have joined you, and hopefully I don't lose my shit on Saturday and there's no fuckery and it's just a good game.
Yeah,
and
I think you lose your shit and you don't get in anywhere after. That's what I think.
There is the potential of that happening.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. Please leave a like and subscribe if you have enjoyed. Until next time, bye.